And we are live.
Welcome to the CrackBerry.com podcast for Thursday, May 25th, 2017.
Hey, everybody. CrackBerry Kevin here, and we are back with another CrackBerry.com podcast. It has been a while. I'm really excited about tonight because, well, Blaze, you're on the show. I'm always excited to see you.
Oh.
And after doing so many CrackBerry meetups the past 2 weeks and seeing how much love for Blaze there is out there in the BlackBerry universe, my respect for you went from like already up here even higher. But my real excitement for today is because the voice you just heard, MrMobile, Michael Fisher. Welcome to the CrackBerry podcast.
Thank you for having me, guys. It hasn't been that long since I've been on, but it feels like it's been an eternity.
When did you do a CrackBerry podcast before?
I don't know. Blaze, when was it? I don't know. Didn't I?
You did one with Simon and I think.
You thought so?
Oh, so I wasn't on it.
Yeah, it was pre CBK's. I don't know. You were probably off in some magical city somewhere, glad handing, or
like in 2017. This happened.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, or maybe it might have been a Berry Flow podcast. In any case, I don't know, but I'm very happy to be here because it's a lot of fun. And as a bonus, I just learned 2 minutes before we started that it's a video podcast. So welcome to my emergency vest, everyone.
See, this is why I think you weren't on a CrackBerry podcast, or you would have realized that.
I would have realized, yeah, probably so. But anyway,
maybe we're getting it confused, Michael. It was the Android Central podcast because we were on.
Oh, we did that podcast.
Right, exactly.
Okay. Yeah, that's probably what it was.
Yeah.
Okay. Which on that, this is a really horrible introduction, so I apologize, everybody. But a few weeks ago, right after all the BlackBerry KEYone reviews dropped, Daniel Bader and the Android Central team hosted the three of us on an Android Central podcast, which if you have not listened to yet, you should go listen to, because many people told me it was the best BlackBerry podcast they've ever listened to, which made me shed a tear because it wasn't ours, it was Android Central's. But I was okay with it because at least we were all on it. And if you care about all things KEYone, it was quite good.
Yeah, it was pretty good podcast.
Yeah, that was fun.
It was on topic, unlike CrackBerry podcasts. Now, Michael Fisher, MrMobile, you have a standing invitation to be on this show anytime you want to, especially as long as you're rocking a BlackBerry, which I've noticed from all the social medias you're posting and videos, this is your daily driver.
It really is. And honestly, before the KEYone, I didn't have a daily driver in 2017 yet. And I always feel a little weird about how often it does show up in my stuff. And I sort of always have to resist the urge to come out and be like, all right, I'm not getting paid for this. I'm not in on whatever sponsored stuff is going on. I just happen to really, really like phones that are different and phones that last forever. And once again, phones that are different. So the KEYone has been with me since the review, and I'm still really, really liking it.
Battery life. Who would think such an unsexy thing as battery life is probably one of the most amazing features to crush on a phone and make such a difference.
Yeah, true enough though. But like, of course I have like every phone in the studio, right? So I could have the Moto Z Play, which gets almost as good battery life as this thing. But what's weird is that I've found myself reacclimated to the physical keyboard. And now when I use a phone that doesn't have it again, it's like, and I didn't expect this to happen.
I didn't.
Like, you warned me, but Kevin warned me about this. And I would, even after 2 weeks, I was like, no, I can still go faster on a virtual. And I think I can still go faster on virtual.
Of course.
I miss the feeling though, when I do. And it's really worrying me, Kevin, because I feel like I'm ruined.
I have this smile I can't contain because it's like, I knew it. And it took like 2 days to get used to it, because like you had to retrain pressing buttons, maybe 4 or 5 days before I started to really like it again. And then 2 weeks later, you're like, I like pushing buttons, right?
Totally. Yeah. Like you need 2 days just to get over the thumb calluses, right? You need to get that soreness out. But seriously, it's I was just using the S8, the Galaxy S8, because I'm doing a piece on Dex tomorrow, their desktop thing. And I love it, and it's all wonderful, and there's so many great things about that phone. But when I was typing on it, I was like, oh, this is This is not what I've become used to.
No, I think you nailed the point though. It's not about all-out speed because touchscreens, I think, are quicker in, let's say, controlled situations.
Sure.
As in, we're just sitting here typing. It's about the accuracy and the certainty when you pick up the phone, you're going to be accurate, and then that feel, right? That rhythm you start to get with tap 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 tap.
Can I tell later in the show? Can I tell you about my keenest wish for the Key 2's physical keyboard?
Tell us now. You can't. Well, wait. Maybe people will watch longer if you hold it.
Maybe. It's a
hold
great
it.
idea.
Hold it.
I will. I'll hold on to it.
This is social podcast engineering here. We're extending our play rate. That's so cruel. Today's show. So things we want to cover. I think it's been a crazy few weeks. Well, it's interesting. We're in the final countdown, and I think that's got to be the title of this podcast because we are 6 days away from the KEYone going on sale in North America. I need to tell a story because that song has been in my head the last 2 weeks because I spent an afternoon in LA with Will Arnett, aka Job from Arrested Development, and that's his theme song every time he would play. He would come out and be a magician.
Really?
Yeah, it was amazing.
I didn't know that.
It's on my Instagram channel. Do you not follow me on Instagram?
I do follow you on Instagram. I double
Open it
tap
right
all
now.
the
You'll see a photo of me and Will Arnett from like a week ago.
Jeez.
The Instagram timeline thing really messes things up. Unless you actually get notifications from Kevin, then it's kind of pointless.
Instagram algorithms are horrible.
True.
So we got to talk about obviously the countdown because May 31st, the KEYone officially becomes available for purchase in North America. That means Canada and the USA. And there's still some, people aren't totally sure where and what and how and when they're going to be able to buy it exactly in what spot. But I will say right now, probably the 31st or shortly before, it should be pretty clear. And what we've seen so far is go to BlackBerryMobile.com and, make sure you're on your country page. And I think you get auto redirected. Scroll down and you're going to see the links to buy from wherever they're selling it from. So that's cool. And I think the other thing, I need to give a little recap and shout outs because I finished the Canadian CrackBerry Meetup tour. I think it's literally, this is Thursday night. It was 3 Fridays ago when I left. And I went on like a whirlwind adventure of a Calgary CrackBerry Meetup, a Vancouver one. I had to spend a week in California there. I was in San Francisco for a couple days in LA. Then I was to Ottawa, then to Montreal. Then we did the Toronto, Canada BlackBerry KEYone launch event. Then we did the Waterloo, hometown birthplace of BlackBerry Meetup. And, and I was sick before I left. And I haven't worked out for a month, and my diet has mainly consisted of alcohol since the last time I was on a podcast. So literally, my muscle mass is withered away. I'm a soft, pudgy mess. And in less than 12 hours, I fly to Taipei, and I'll be gone to Computex for a week. Then I'll be home for 3 days, and then I'll be off because we're going to kick off the U.S. KEYone Roadshow, CrackBerry Meetup Roadshow tour, whatever we're calling it. And we're going to go to Boston, among other cities.
Finally. Now, is this the first stop? Is Boston the first stop, or is it?
Well, let's talk quickly about the dates because
yeah. Because this is great. Because while you're looking that up, I wanted to tailgate on Kevin's New York City meetup, and I was so excited. And we actually ordered all the stuff. Like there was all the CrackBerry swag and the MrMobile swag, and I was all set. And then there was another phone manufacturer that scheduled an event that I had to fly to, and that was
that's why around CrackBerry we just don't care about other phone manufacturers. It's a much simpler life.
That's right.
It takes care of everything.
Takes care of all the problems. And now that BlackBerry runs Android, you don't need a second phone to get all the apps. It's just a one phone life experience.
Show enough. All top 40 apps.
So here, this is my travel schedule. So tomorrow morning, 5 a.m. I head to the airport. So I'm not going to go to bed tonight. No. I'll be in Taipei until next Friday or Saturday. It's Computex. It's kind of like I guess you'd almost call it like their CES. And I've got some meetings out there. And I try to go every couple-ish years. So I will be there. home for a few days. Then I have to fly to Miami, June 13th to 16th. And then I'll be going back, I guess, up. I always want to say down. I'll be going up to the New Yorkish area. And then we're going to do a whirlwind. It's going to be Boston on Monday, June 19th. Going to go to Washington, D.C. for June 20th. Atlanta for June 21st.
Oh, my God.
Houston for June 22nd. Dallas for June 23rd. And then on my way back home, I'm going to do Saturday night in Chicago for June 24th. And I know we have so many people who have been begging to come to Chicago, like crazy fan base out there. So I was like, we have to do that one on a Saturday night because I have a feeling it'll go till 2 a.m. or something like that.
That's a great.
So that'll take care of the East Coast. So it's going to be like I'm lining it up, and it's going to be just boom, 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 boom. But it's going to be awesome. And then I will take I don't know how much time, and then I will do West Coast after that. I don't have that all planned out yet, but probably LA, and then maybe there'll be 1 or 2 more cities, which I have not figured out. And then hopefully I'll get a little time. Actually, it's not even hopefully. I love doing this, so I don't need time off from doing it. But hopefully I'll have a little time to see my wife, so I still stay married. Because our 2-year anniversary is coming up at the end of June. That's good. I just checked. I will be home for my anniversary. Yes.
Outstanding.
So Boston.
That was planned the whole time.
Yeah, Boston, the 19th. I think we should do a MrMobile CrackBerry Kevin in Boston meetup. We can double it up.
We gotta. I was just I was walking back from the studio the other day because it was a nice day, rarely for Boston, and I met a random guy in the street. He's like, "Hey, I love your videos," and we walked for a couple of blocks and chatted. And that's been happening a little more often here in Boston. So I think we could get a couple of people to come out. I think it would be a big party, kid.
I think you can get way more than a couple. I think now I'm assuming every CrackBerry listener already knows who MrMobile is. Maybe we should take a minute and just reintroduce you to the world, just in case you were never on this podcast before, which I don't think you were. I feel like I would remember this.
I guess you would remember, yeah.
I feel like I would remember. So I don't know.
Well,
how would you describe yourself, MrMobile?
I would describe myself as a lapsed and then renewed BlackBerry fan, but more so as a phone enthusiast.
I felt a slight slip almost happening there.
Yes. No, I'm a mobile technology nerd who reviews mobile technology on YouTube, and those videos go up at least twice a week at the MrMobile on YouTube, and it's a wonderful time. And I can't think of any shorter way to describe myself than just go visit the YouTube page, and it's wonderful. And I have a great time. And I formerly only reviewed Blackberries in the context of throwbacks, and now I'm glad I don't have to do that anymore because there's new stuff. Yay!
So good. And if you've never seen MrMobile's videos before, they are the best thing on YouTube. I really feel like what worries me is, one day it's like, I don't know, 60 Minutes or somebody like that is going to come and be like, MrMobile, we would like to add a technology segment to every show.
Oh, yeah.
Can you?
And we're taking you away.
Yeah, I feel like it's coming because it's like your stuff is. I love YouTube, but I feel like, and I want to say this without offending anybody on YouTube because I love so many people on YouTube, but I feel like you're. I don't even know what to say. What are the words I'm looking for?
I don't know. I try to make
beyond YouTube.
I don't want to say, yeah. Well, I don't know. Yeah, I think I don't want to say it's above. It's just different. It's just.
I wasn't saying it was above. It's just it's good. It's good quality videos, and even my wife will watch them and be like, "Yeah, he's really good."
Oh, good.
And
I love hearing that because I get worried about it sometimes. You know how we all end up in our echo chamber, we nerds, and it's like, do normal people care about any of this stuff?
Well, look, she probably would if I wasn't in the room with her when she watched it. She would probably watch 2 minutes and not like 6 or 8 or 10.
Yeah,
but she would love it.
Good.
But she's like, you know what though? If you care about this product, like if you're actually thinking about buying it, she would watch every second.
Excellent.
Because that's like a triple plus. Like that's amazing.
I get more family-based feedback on MrMobile's videos than any other. My own content for that matter. Like I'll put up my own articles and my family's like, yeah, who cares? I put up a MrMobile video and they're like, oh, that's awesome. I like that video. I like that guy. He has a great sound of voice. Wow, that was really in depth and detailed. I'm like, Really? Did you read my article?
I too have an article. No, that's great to hear. But the opposite happens to me. I will upload a MrMobile video, and all my families, of course, they're all tired of hearing my voice. They see me all the time. But when I cross post a Modern Dad video, they'll watch the hell out of that because he covers the stuff they care about too. They're like, oh yeah, there's that Amazon Echo thing. There's that Google Home thing. I'm like, yeah. That stuff.
I'm not gonna lie. I feel like you and Modern Dad have probably the best jobs.
I'm
callings.
not disagree with you.
Like I know there so much work goes into them, so it's not don't get best confused with easy for anybody listening. I think they're incredibly difficult jobs.
Yeah, they can be, but they're immensely rewarding.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh God.
Your episode on how you shoot MrMobile made me realize I will never be a good YouTuber.
Oh yeah, I realized that long ago.
And actually, I was demoralizing. I was like, oh, that's it.
No, that's crap. Because what was it? I was you were running some of the early KEYone videos past me a couple months ago, and I was like, yeah, like I would have turned off on my own video 45 seconds ago, but every time I try and turn away from a CBK video, there's like a jump cut and like either a loud yelling sound effect or like a vulgar joke, like
a poop emoji.
Yeah, a poop emoji.
Yeah. See, I have. Yeah, it's a different style we have, I guess.
Yours keeps me watching, is what I'm saying.
Hey, that's thank you. That means a lot coming from you. It's
of course
what I like about the new generation of CrackBerry Kevin videos, which I'm mad I didn't get a chance to record this one this week. Do people still call it recording? Do you record a video, or do
you lay it down? Yeah,
lay it down. Yeah, I wanted to lay down another video this week, and I just didn't. This is the first time I got to the office because I forgot stuff here, and I just didn't get to the studio to do one. But when I do go to the studio to shoot, and I'm assuming it takes you 2-3 days to do a video.
Yeah, about.
Yeah, it takes me about 12 minutes.
That's the thing. You're very efficient.
I walk out this door. I either go down the steps or elevator one floor lower. I walk into my CrackBerry Kevin studio setup. I have a couple different people I work with there. I give them a heads up saying I'll be down in 10 minutes. I come in, I shoot in one take, and then I walk out and I say, just chop the hell out of it, and
make it magical.
Make it magical.
Yeah,
and that's it. And it's been working really well because I don't have a ton of time, not as much as I'd like. I haven't figured out how to add more hours into the day, so we just like get more into them.
That's because I'm always bothering you about something. Yeah, you got to lay down a track, and I'm like, hey, Kevin, I need you to solve a MrMobile problem real quick. It's never real quick.
It's fun. No, fantastic.
A behind the scenes of CrackBerry Kevin videos wouldn't be as exciting as a MrMobile video.
It would be less demoralizing though. People would be like, "Oh, that's all he does. Wow, I could do that."
Oh man, yeah, but that's hard.
Okay, so we have MrMobile on the show. I don't want to. I want to hear more about your love affair with the KEYone. Well, I'm going to call it a love affair. You can change those words. Those are mine, not yours. But what got me super excited was you were at Google I/O last week.
Oh God!
And a photo got posted. I forget. I think it was. Who posted it?
It was probably Nirav who posted it.
Nirav posted it from Android Authority. There was a group of hardcore Android users in it. And, you guys are all rocking KEYones. And I was like, this is the best photo I've seen because I know you are a group of gentlemen who are phone enthusiasts.
Easy, watch it.
And phone enthusiasts who can pick whatever you want. And this became the show, not just the show phone because it has good battery life, but you guys are like all loving it seems.
Yeah. I mean, and this is the crazy thing. It looks like a super staged photo. But what happened was we were waiting for the Google I/O keynote to start. I had my camera set up. I was sort of just wasting time because they let you in and you wait for 2 hours for the keynote to start. And of course, you run into your friends and stuff. And so I expected to see Josh Vergara and Nirav, both from Android Authority, Sasha Pallenberg formerly of Mobile Geeks, and Chris Velasco of Engadget. So running into all these guys, and I was there with the AC crew, and none of that was a surprise. The surprise was when I think it was Josh who first got a WhatsApp message or something. He pulled out his KEYone. I'm like, oh, me too. Check it out. And then Nirav came from around the corner and had his. And they all told me that Velasco was rocking his 2 boxes down, and I was like, this is this is the most ridiculous. I'm at Google I/O 2017, and everyone has a BlackBerry. What the hell kind of alternate universe did I stumble into? So we had to take a picture. But you nailed it, though. Like, I mean, battery life, any show phone, you know, if you're talking about CES or MWC, you guys know when you go to a trade show, you need a phone with awesome battery life. So I imagine that's part of what factored into their decision. I can't really speak for them. For me, it was just, as you say, it's my daily driver. And I spent, I think, 3.5 hours of the flight out there listening to the entirety of the S-Town podcast while playing Sparkle 2. It wasn't dead by the time I landed. You know what I mean? It's such a...
So here, I'll ask you a question because I'm thinking of questions that I keep getting asked at the you know, various CrackBerry meetups. And, you know, you have... You know, I've said the phones I was using before the KEYone, you know, I was on iPhone 7 Plus for a while, Google Pixel XL for a while, VTech 60 for a little bit, which wasn't as, you know, the Pixel is a much better Android experience than that. Yeah. And then I came to the KEYone, and it was like back up a notch, big time. And that's what I've been rocking, right? But I've been used to big screen phones the last couple of years. So and I know, and I saw today you posted a video on the MrMobile YouTube channel of, you know, here's my top 40 apps I use on my phone. Pretty good spread of apps. You had some games in there, productivity stuff, communication stuff, all that. So given the spread of apps you use, and I know you kind of use the same spread of apps regardless of which phone you're testing.
Correct.
Screen size on the KEYone. Have you ever felt like, oh, it's too small, or I wish it was bigger, or has it been pretty, you know, you just use it and you don't think about it?
Now I use it and I don't think about it. And if I didn't go back to other phones, I probably wouldn't notice it. I mean, it's, you know, it's obviously smaller when you hold it up. It's smaller. You're sacrificing a good amount of real estate for that keyboard
compared to a plus size phone, right? Like an S8 Plus or
right, like an S8 Plus, which is what I hop back to a lot of the time. But it's only in that act of going back to the S8 Plus to do something that I can't do on this for whatever reason, or I just want to do on the Samsung phone, like Snapchat, for example, that I realized, like, oh yeah. If you're a media consumer, like, no, you don't buy a KEYone probably, because this is a much smaller display comparatively. But I don't notice it in everyday use. I've adapted to it. The only place that it actually does annoy me, and I never thought I would say this because I usually don't care about letterboxing or pillar boxing in video, but because of the weird aspect ratio, you do get like a more pronounced bezel around whatever content you're watching, depending on what you're watching it on. So that starts to feel like a little bit of wasted space. And the Snapchat problem is because of that too. I was Snapchatting with this phone at I/O, and everyone who followed me was like, what phone are you using to Snapchat? Because your text is getting cropped, or the crop is weird.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So I was like, oh, okay. But here's the thing. Then I switched to the S8. I'm like, oh, I'll make everybody happy. I'll switch back to the Samsung phone. But because that phone has a weird 2:1 aspect ratio, which I like, but is weird, if I put the text captions too high or too low, they would get chopped off on that phone too, depending on what people were watching. So the short story is Snapchat is a mess on Android, and no one
really is
based on it.
It really is. I pinged Renee Ritchie on Slack after their earnings report came out, because, you know, Slack's earnings reports, Snapchat's earning reports. I'm like, Renee, this is your time. You need to take a photo of, you know, the founder of Snapchat, you know, bawling picture of him or whatever, and be like, lost. I forget how much money they lost that quarter. Something like
something substantial. I forget what it was.
It was like hundreds of millions of dollars. It was a ton of money, and it's like, yeah, lost $200 million this quarter, and still can't make an Android app that works, because that would have been pretty funny.
Yes, it would have.
You know?
The funny thing about that, though, is that like they even in the documentation for like their earnings and when they filed their IPO and everything, they said that they suck at Android apps.
Critical risk. We suck at Android. It's like
unbelievable. It actually got me so annoyed that I almost switched to Instagram stories at I/O. I took a Twitter poll, and I was like, would you guys mind if I switched to Instagram stories? And it was about even a 50-50 split. So I was like, okay, well, I'll stay on Snapchat for a while then.
You know, that's my single biggest, how do I put it? No, not beef. This is like, yeah, I guess let's call it a beef with social media in 2017. I mean, it's funny, right? Like when BlackBerry was the #1 smartphone a decade ago, we used this for text messaging and email. So that blinking red light was super, super awesome because you only had 2 things that had to blink for, and typically you picked it up for a phone call, but the blinking red light was huge. Now it's like you have everything coming into here. It's beeping all the time between, your Twitter and Instagram and everything. But I'm like, now there's even more because you take Instagram and there's like 2 things I need to do. It's not just post photos. Now I need to post stories. Oh, wait, I can go live through there. Wait, I need to do the same thing with Twitter and Periscope. And I'm like, there's like 14 social things you need to be doing if you're MrMobile or you're trying to, I want to be CrackBerry Kevin at an event and I want to share the love. And I'm like, geez, if I stop what I'm doing, I'm not, at the meetups, for example, I want to talk to people who are there. If I want to post something to social, I have to do it like 7 times. Now I'm going to spend a half hour just like looking at my phone doing things.
Totally. And you can't post the same thing to all the different avenues because you have to tailor it to specific lanes. So social's a full-time job in 2017.
Yeah, being social forces you to be antisocial with everybody around you in real life. So
Kevin messaged me one day to say that my tweet sucked. He's like, dude, your tweet sucks. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, yeah, your tweet sucks. He's like, you suck at social. He's like, you need to be native everywhere. And I'm like, what are you talking about?
He pushed an Instagram post through Twitter, but Twitter doesn't pull in the image. It just gives you a link back.
Right.
And it was a beautiful photo. I'm like, dude, push that
that over. Do you remember when it actually did that before they were having their pissing match and recorded the image? That was the best. I missed that dearly.
Yeah. Everybody's self-interest. They don't care about us consumers, damn it. They just care about their profits.
After Kevin yelled at me.
Corporations.
I bet, yeah. What's nice is if you plug in enough social accounts to your phone, like things will get confused and they'll confuse each other. If you run both your personal Facebook page and a brand Facebook page and you link them to Instagram, someone out there can tell me, maybe solve this issue for me, but it seems to be completely random as to what it posts the picture to.
Oh yeah, I noticed that too.
You noticed that too, right? So yeah, I'm like, oh, this beautiful picture. Okay, cross share to Facebook. And half the time it'll be my personal page and half the time it'll be the MrMobile page. So
yeah, I was wondering why my photos from Instagram weren't going to my Facebook page. And then because obviously I set up like a personal business page so that I can have the insights, right?
Right.
And they were all going to that brand page that I didn't even really remember. I'm like, where are they going?
I thought you were going to say like the CrackBerry Instagram followers were so confused because they just kept seeing random photos of you skiing.
On that note, I just remembered we're on a Hangout and I can share my screen. So I'm going to show people my beautiful countdown that's going on.
Yes.
So let's start with the number 10 here.
Look at that. Oh, this is gorgeous. These are all KEYones to people listening. These are all KEYones spelling out numeric figures, Arabic numerals.
Now look, Kate. Now I want to say everybody to pause and look at this number 8.
That 8 is dope.
Because this did not just happen in like 10 seconds of like, here, I'll throw out 8 phones and draw number 8. This is hard to get those phones to line up and to be like, how do I make this look right? Because the natural instinct was to create the box of the 4, but then I was putting them tip to tip, and I was like, well, no, now it looks like too dainty in the middle where like they touch or they meet, they intersect. But to line up the 2 to cross through like this and kind of offset it so it's still straight, this was really difficult. It was not easy.
You know what I want to do now? First of all, kudos. Well done.
Thank you.
Second of all, I'm going to take that and sort of take the background out and turn them sideways and put BlackBerry goggles on every photo of CrackBerry Kevin.
Oh, that would be kind of funny. I like it. And now the number 7, I didn't realize it was such a weird thing to put the little line through it because I think even Michael Fisher called me out on Twitter.
I didn't call you out. I thought it was very fancy.
Classy, yeah, very fancy, classy thing. But I'm like, is it? I don't know. This is how I was taught to draw number 7.
Yeah, we omit that here in most parts of the States.
So what's the point of it?
I think it's to tell it apart from a 1, right?
Yeah.
Apparently this is what I learned. It's actually, so there's 7 angles in the number 7 because all of the numbers are supposed to match the number of angles of the number. I don't know. I think I got lied to. I hit the convenience key on my KEYone, which opens voice search, aka Google Assist. And I said, what does the line in the number 7 mean? And then it was like, it's there because 7 angles. So if you count it, there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't actually know.
Yeah, like, but then what about 2 and 5? Like,
well, if you draw them perfectly, they should only have. That doesn't make sense at all, does it?
No, not to me. I don't know.
So this photo I took today, I actually went into a restaurant because I'm like, I need a nice surface that's a little different.
This is the 6. Everyone listening.
It is very much. You could think like, well, why don't you cheat and just flip the 9? But I didn't. I recreated it. You could
use like 2 or 3 more KEYones to up that resolution a little bit.
Yeah, that's true. But
no, it looks great. I'm playing with it.
Personally, it is glorious. The way that you put it together, it's absolutely amazing. However, the first one that you did, the 10 with the thumbs up in the 1, that's amazing.
Yeah. This is art. This is like what I had. I don't know if people will remember this, but back in 2013, I thought I had mad Vine skills, and I made like 3 posts on Vine that I was really. Is Vine still work? Like, can you go to Vine?
No, they shut it down. Yeah.
So I can't go to vine.com/CrackBerry Kevin and find my stuff.
I don't know.
No, it goes to Amazon. What? It went to Amazon.
Well, wait. Well, Twitter still owns Vine, right? They just shut it down. They didn't spin it off or anything, right?
Yeah, they shut it down. They turned it into a camera app, just like a camera app.
Well, was it not? Maybe it was Vine.co.
Oh, maybe.
/ that might have been it.
You know, it's.
Oh yeah, it was .co.
Being back on BlackBerry, I can't like sneak out a surreptitious text while you guys are talking anymore. There's too much clicky.
This is more like we should really be drinking beer. Actually, I feel like we're doing this podcast a disservice.
Fair point.
Now, which reminds me of a story. So I visited MrMobile in his Boston studio. What month was that?
Yeah, a couple months ago, middle of the winter, sometime.
Was it in 2017 or was it?
I don't know. It maybe January or so. I want to guess.
Maybe. And everybody in Boston is drinking sour beer.
Oh yeah.
Which I assumed by the name I would like, but I never really had it before. And it's like drinking candy.
Oh, the best candy.
And then we drank so much.
For you, Kevin.
We should only really have, I think, 1 or 2 though. I don't think it's really healthy to have many of them.
Right. You don't want to say like have them over the course of a whole weekend. Really.
It's super acidic, and I had so many of them that one night. I had the worst flight home the next day. It was the worst flight. So if you take nothing else away from this podcast, other than the KEYone is pretty dope, the second thing you should take away is if somebody offers you sour beer, enjoy 1 or 2 and stop.
Crucial.
Hard stop.
Yeah. Definitely space your drinks with a glass of water as well. You want to cut that acidity a little bit.
What does your lovely girlfriend think of the KEYone?
She likes, she reacts in the same way as pretty much everyone, which, is just like, wait, what is that? Is that, what do you mean BlackBerry? What? LOL. And then, go to hold it and it's like, oh, this is actually really nice. She's used to me kind of like having a new phone all the time and whatever. She does not necessarily like me texting or tweeting late at night when she's trying to sleep because,
the keyboard is loud. Yeah, I hear you. That's maybe my one big gripe. It's like, oh yeah, keys make noise, but
right. Yeah, but no, I mean, it's good. So can I publish my wish list now, even though we're not at the end of the show?
I've concluded we're going to call this episode Making Memories with MrMobile.
Wow. Good alliteration. We like that.
I was going to do it the final countdown, but I think it's Making Memories with MrMobile.
That's nice.
Great podcast, special edition.
Ooh. Have you guys, I'm sure you guys have had many exchanges of your memories of earlier BlackBerries. So I don't want to force that. Maybe we can talk about that in a hot second. Because I just want to say on the Key 2 or the Key 3 or whatever the hell the sequel of this thing is, we already have a keyboard right now that serves as a trackpad and that has various other capacitive functions when you swipe it and do things other than pressing the buttons. But there's more potential here. Do you guys remember a phone? It was a dumb phone. It was released around 2009 or 2008 called the Samsung Alias and Alias 2.
Got to Google it right now.
I think this was the name. It was a clamshell dumb phone with a two-directional hinge that let you open it in landscape or portrait. And depending on what direction you opened it in, the keyboard would repurpose itself. And again, it was a physical keyboard, but under all of the keys, all the transparent key covers, was a tiny e-ink display per key. And I think it was maybe like a 30-key keyboard. And so if
I've got a picture of it up
there
right
it is.
now.
So if you opened it in portrait, you would get a numpad. If you opened it in landscape, you would get a full QWERTY keyboard. And like I say, each key is e-ink, so it could repurpose itself. However, I want to see like a Key 2 with a similar implementation, but maybe without, instead of the e-ink, since that's probably patented or something, use an individual OLED screen per key. I think it would have maybe 25 minutes of battery life, but it would be so worth it. And
That
because
looks amazing,
think about it, you could, right? I mean, you could, then you would have a BlackBerry with a physical keyboard that you could change the language on the fly.
Yeah.
You could put your punctuation in areas that you wanted, on keys that you wanted. And you could do like a razor thing where you could make it a rainbow backlight or whatever.
That's interesting. Now, would you still get tactile feedback?
Yeah, because they're still keys. They're still, it's just like this. It's just like the KEYone. Each key is still an individual physical key. It's just the visual element within it. It's not just painted plastic. It's a display.
Oh,
right.
God. I wonder what that phone would cost to manufacture.
That would be, this would be like a $950 BlackBerry.
This is the MrMobile. We might have to like Kickstarter this first, and if we can
special edition MrMobile
sell enough,
BlackBerry.
then we'll go get them to build it for us.
Oh my God.
That would be pretty magical. That would be pretty freaking interesting.
I mean, because what else? There's a limited number of things you can do with a physical keyboard, and I think BlackBerry is already doing the most you can do with a physical keyboard right now with all this capacitive stuff, which I love. But I think the next level is a 30-key keyboard with each key having its own display.
Wow, that's. I mean, I think what you said that's most interesting is. Well, not you said many interesting things there, but you're right. One of the challenges of a physical keyboard is you have to make it in different languages, right? So it's like we need our Azerty, we need our Quartz, we need our what's the other one? Azerty, Quartz,
and Quartz Z. There's Quartz, there's Azerty, and then there's another QWERTY variant. I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot of them, right? And that's expense. That's an expense. It's another keyboard to design. It's another run on the old manufacturing line, or at least change out. Like
maintain inventory in different builds. Yeah. So
it's definitely more of a commitment to build a physical keyboard in that respect. You can't just use the magic of software to change it, unless the buttons are made of OLED screens.
Yes. Oh, and
now
go ahead.
Can I tell you a story about the buttons on this particular phone? So this is my, I'm still using my original KEYone that was
from months ago.
Wow. Guess how many phones I have in front of me here, and this is where you're going to get that. This is the FU Kevin photo, right? But these are all for
Kevin's building his next house out of KEYones.
I sleep on a bed of KEYones. These are all for the meetups, so I've been taking them and demoing them. So I haven't wanted to switch to them because they're newer hardware builds and everything. And this particular phone has actually never been on the OTA software update. So this is still January 13th software on here. It's literally a week after CES. That's when the OS was loaded on this. And I'm like, it's been solid. I'm like, it's still the best BlackBerry I've ever owned.
That's incredible.
And it has received no updates. It's been running really solid. Everything's holding up. So I'm like, it's a good long-term test, and it's been rocking it. But this is a crazy story that I've been telling at the meetups. I don't think I told it on a CrackBerry podcast yet or wrote into an article. So the keyboard saved my face. I was in New York. Remember the day I was on Cheddar TV there?
Yep. Yes.
So that night I may have drank beverages. And you'll see this is a common theme of 2017. And I'm not even a drinking guy, but when I travel, I tend to drink. And then we do meetups, I tend to drink. And I'm like,
Got to stay social.
I was in the real social, not the fake online social, real social. I was in the hotel room walking towards my bed. I tripped on my own feet. I was face planting towards the bedside table, the nightstand, whatever you call it. And I had my phone in my hand and I put it in front of me, and the KEYone went straight down like this on the corner of the nightstand, completely stopping myself.
Ooh.
But, and I mean, this is probably the hardest I've slammed a phone into anything maybe ever. And guess what happened? One thing did happen.
I bet you that Y key came off. Or
the letter L popped off the keyboard.
Ooh.
And I'm like, oh shit. And that was the only KEYone I had. I'm like, oh my God, I just destroyed my KEYone. But I mean, it saved my face because it would have hurt bad.
Yeah.
I found the key. I went down to the Dwayne Reed, still tipsy at the time, and I'm like, I need crazy glue. It would just pop back in. I bought crazy glue, which I should have waited till morning in retrospect. I'm like, crazy glue, blue. And I pretty much covered this side of the keyboard with crazy glue.
Oh, God.
And it stuck. And then I went to bed, and the next morning I start typing, and I'm like, ooh, all these keys were like unmovably stiff, right? They were like, I was like, oh, but everything worked, and the letter L was sticking on, and even like somehow the swiping was working over it. Like it was still miraculously seeming to work.
This is so painful.
And then I was like, well, I'll just keep using it. I didn't tell anybody. I was too embarrassed to tell anybody. I'm like, this is what happened. But after a week of use, the crazy glue like worked its way through. Mm-hmm. All the button strokes came back to normal, and that L button has just stayed on, like no problems, no issues, everything is good.
Yeah, that's going to be the last thing that comes off that phone.
That explains why there's no L's in Kevin's emails for 2 days.
Yeah, do you know how much time I had to sit to rewrite those sentences, man?
Every hello became heyo.
But it's a pretty tough phone. You know, I've been impressed with the my use of it. Like it seems to be a pretty durable build on the KEYone.
Yeah, I haven't beaten mine up too badly yet. I mean, I normally have dropped a phone at this point of using it every day, but I haven't dropped this one. But it feels like it can take some abuse.
Do you put cases on your phones often, or do you prefer to go naked? You're a naked guy,
naked.
Right?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, especially with a phone like this, where it's like it doesn't need or want a case on it. Like you gotta feel it. It's awesome.
Yeah, I mean,
the case that they sent out, I'm like, I can't use that because it's not that it's not a nice case. It folds over on the back and everything. You can sit your phone up on the table. Yeah. It's a really nice case. It's even got a magnetic flap on it so that it closes and all the buttons are in the right spots and everything. But it's too big for me. Like I don't like my devices with cases on them. So I appreciate it, but it's not for me.
Yep. Yeah. Same with me. And also I got afraid trying to put the phone into the case because I feel like I was going to shear a button off. It's like, geez, this is really quite a tight fit. But
that was a tight fit to get into that case. It's a nice case when you put it on. I got one.
It does. It looks like. I mean, it would make me feel very, very baller, but I did not do it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's I've saw some forum threads popping up with people really panicking, looking for, when are they going to do more cases? And I think BlackBerry Mobile did put up a page on their US website that showed off some of the official accessories.
Oh, hey, about that. Are any of them, Kevin? I think we talked about this on the AC podcast, and some readers chimed in to let me know that yes, there are magnetic cases or holsters for the KEYone that like the KEYone can read a magnetic like a read switch and turn the display. That's what at least 2 people told me that after that podcast, but I don't know.
What is that true?
I don't know about that. Like, are you talking about like how you put the device to sleep with it?
Right, like with the old school Blackberries, when you dropped them in the holster, the stock holster, the display would turn off, and you could set different. You could set it to be silent in the holster or vibe in the holster, or whatever.
Yeah, see,
I am sharing my screen again, so if you're watching this on video, you can see what I'm looking at. So there's a dual layer shell case. which looks pretty good. It's got like the rubberized front and the buttons are rubberized.
Right. It's just an
Wraps the
open-faced
phone.
case. Yeah.
So this one here is a pocket with
Fascinating.
that is nice. It's got a cutout for the screen to show through.
So it's like a portrait orientation holster with a cutout for a portion of the screen to show through, and it appears to be showing like a special lock screen.
Yeah, it's the
is
lock
that
screen. It's basically like your device is at rest at that point, and then you can tap on the notifications and swipe through the notifications.
Okay.
It's the exact same thing that was on the Priv and the DTEC 50 and 60. Like, it gives you a small window into what your notifications are, and you can literally swipe through them and so on.
But is that exclusive to the case, or is that just the mode that appears no matter what?
I think that's the mode that it gets automatically put into. It's not necessarily exclusive to that particular case. Like, they can build other cases for it, but I don't think third-party cases support it in any sort of way.
Oh wait,
It's literally only the BlackBerry ones that actually have it.
Okay, but are you talking then about the magnet that's tripping it into that? I'm confused.
That's the thing. I'm not entirely too sure about that. I'm not entirely too sure what actually triggers that mode.
I don't know.
Well, they're used to, like, on a lot of phones, it's like just a read switch where, you know, it just detects the magnet in the case and it goes into its special whatever mode. I've got a magnet right here. I'm going to put a magnet up against this thing, see what it does. Hold on.
Yeah, see, I haven't tried it. I mean, I've had it for months and I haven't tried that. Keep talking, and then there's this flip case. But yeah, I don't know. It feels to me like a phone that just doesn't. I mean, obviously, if you beat up your phones a lot, drop them, or rough and tumble jobs, do get a case. But in general, it's like it feels so good in the hand. I don't want to put a case on it.
Yeah, exactly. It adds to the comfort when you don't actually have a case on it. But I mean, one of those things is that some people might have a problem with the back on it too, where even though it does have a nice soft touch finish and it is kind of like rubbery, there's people who just want that extra assurance, and they're going to put a thin case on it to be able to go ahead and make sure that they have that gripability factor.
Now, I'm surprised nobody's questioned where my CrackBerry style ring is.
I was just going to ask where that is.
I've got a new one here. I had to take it off because for all my photos, I've occasionally needed all 8 phones.
Yeah, of course.
Number 8, and then I just didn't put a new one on yet. I miss it.
Newsflash: there's no response to the magnet. The closest magnet I had was on the back of this comm badge. That's not why I'm now wearing a Starfleet communicator on my chest.
Somebody's wondering.
Yeah, in case. Yeah, no, the BlackBerry did not respond to any of that. So I'm gonna say there's probably no read switch in here, and that's fine. But it's a little sad.
Yeah,
I kind of want that back.
It is. It's a good question. It's like, what are, and actually today I put up a post on CrackBerry. It's a poll. I'm going to open it right now.
Ooh. I have the CrackBerry
people.
app. I'm looking at that.
Wait, is the black?
Oh, is it about the key?
It's about the convenience key. Yeah.
How important?
Actually, I don't
is
like
it?
that. Yeah.
Yeah. So good question. You and I have mapped it the same way, apparently, Kevin. What does Bla1ze use his convenience key for?
You're the one who taught me to map it that way.
Oh, really? Oh, hooray.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. I was using it for the camera, the hub, and then I kind of quit using the hub because, as we talked about on our Android Central podcast, I just, I get too many messages and I can't get work done if I have everything coming in at once. I need to ignore like 95% of everything and just work on one thing at a time.
Right.
But voice search is awesome. I set reminders. I'm like, I did one yesterday. That was just, let's see. I did, remind me tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. to give my wife a hug.
Oh.
That's so good.
You know what I love about the Google architecture is that
Yes.
that reminder will be saved as give my wife a hug. So when it pops up, you'll be like, "Who's my phone wants me to give its wife a hug." Weird context and phrasing. Yeah, no, it's handy. Like you don't have to deal with a trigger phrase or anything. You just push the button.
Push button. Like, okay, Google. I never want to say ever.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
Okay,
it's kind
Google.
of awkward, and it never triggers when you want it to. It's like any key phrase.
I was actually arguing with my phone last night, trying to figure out when Pirates of the Caribbean, the new movie, came out, and I was like, "Okay, Google, wait, why aren't you working? Okay, Google, wait, why are you not working?"
So many people's KEYones are going to go off when they hear this.
Yeah.
So that's such a rude thing to do. I didn't even think about that. No. I haven't been paying attention to the time at all because I've been having fun just casually chatting this podcast where we are clearly have no agenda or script.
Clearly.
But I do, Chris, or Bla1ze, what are we not talking about that we should be talking about? Because you've been living in it daily.
Well, we talked about the KEYone accessories. We talked about the convenience key. We talked about the roadmap for meetups.
Yeah, I haven't talked about how awesome each and every one of our meetups were. That could be how we wind down the show, because MrMobile might be not wanting to listen to all that again. I don't know. I know he's got things to do. His videos take so long to work on. I know he has stuff to do.
I actually do have to go script that Dex video I was talking about. But I do. I have a couple things, but after Bla1ze is done, go ahead, Bla1ze. I'm sorry.
The only thing that I just want to basically put out there is all the new BlackBerry KEYone help and support videos that are out there on the BlackBerry Mobile YouTube page, because a lot of them are obviously they're help and how-to videos, but a lot of them also have really nice tips and tricks.
Yeah, I feel like they're putting CrackBerry Kevin out of a job, because I was like, well, I need to go shoot some videos. And I looked at all the stuff on their YouTube channel. I'm like, well, now I don't know what I should shoot for a video.
I got nothing to do.
Like I was saying, it covers a lot of the basics, like how to take a screenshot, how to set up your pop-up widgets, assign keyboard shortcuts and stuff like that. But there's also some goodies in there, like 5 hidden BlackBerry KEYone features that you may not know.
What?
5 great Android Nougat features on the BlackBerry KEYone.
What?
Stuff like that. So if you haven't checked it out yet, you can check it out on CrackBerry. We link to them all. But if go ahead.
Can I give? Here's one we need to write an article for, because I'm sure people will ask it, and because I keep getting asked, and it's I think we talked about it. Maybe we didn't talk about it. For people who are switching to the KEYone or any Android phone for that matter, and they were on an iPhone and they've been in iMessage groups, is there a clean way to deal with that that's not annoying? Because like I have, some of my siblings in my family are on iPhones these days. They were on BlackBerries for many, many, many years. This phone had to come out like 2 years ago, and they would still be on BlackBerries. So now it's going to take me a little bit of time to get them converted again. Mm-hmm. But then, I get an iMessage group message, and then like the way it hits me is it says download MMS. It comes in from whoever, my mom or somebody. Then it opens, and then it like goes back into a different message to unveil what the text message was. And I'm like, this is weird. And
I don't think there's any clean way to work around that, because that's Apple's incompatibility with how the Android system is, because iMessage is proprietary. So
yeah, I hate that. Apple should really die then until they fix that. And then I won't say that anymore, because I mean, you can use WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, whatever group chat app you want, and that's fine. But the way iMessage obviously reverts back to text, it just creates a weird thing, because it reverts back to your native text apps.
Yeah, and it interferes with the way SMS had historically worked before iMessage came along. It's very frustrating. Yeah.
And it's not even that particular scenario either. There's the other scenario where if you don't unregister your phone number from iMessage using the Apple tools, if you switch devices, then you may never even get your text messages that just disappear into the ether.
Black hole.
Yeah, I'm a pro at fixing that now. So is there no way, because I feel like if there's a developer listening here, that should be like somebody's high priority to fix, is like build an app for Android that's specifically looking for like incoming MMS messages
from iPhones.
And figuring out that, hey, these are for iPhones, and then somehow like we're grabbing them and reconstructing that group message, even if it's into a separate app from your native message.
Yeah.
And just like interparsing that stuff, because that bugs me. And it's like, I think it's like a North America, like that iMessage lock-in is kind of a real deal in the US for people who are just.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yep. Yeah, and it's become the new BBM, because that's what BBM used to be. Is what kept people on BlackBerry. Is like, oh man, this is an old phone with a crappy OS. It's got no apps, but I gotta have my BBM. So
Yeah,
that's true.
Also, speaking of developers, I just want to put some attention on a new Android app that actually came out too.
Launcher 10?
No, not that. There's got all excited. Wow.
Launcher 10 is dope, man.
It's called Keyboard Browser.
It's on MrMobile's Facebook page. Well, let's talk about the Keyboard Browser.
Keyboard Browser is a new Android app that was pretty much built for BlackBerry devices, BlackBerry Android devices with keyboards. So what it does is it sort of mimics the BlackBerry 10 browser as it is currently, but it integrates a lot of the keyboard shortcuts because, as you guys know, when you're using the KEYone, the keyboard shortcuts don't necessarily work in the Google Chrome browser. But what Keyboard Browser actually does is it brings a lot of keyboard shortcuts directly into the web browser itself. So you can go into like reader mode. You can basically access like hit the T button to go to the top, hit the B to go to the bottom, so on and so forth. And you can search within the pages, all using the keyboard keys themselves. So it's really interesting, and I'm not going to say that it's comparable to like Google Chrome or anything like that, because it is essentially a work in progress at this point. But it's one of those things where if you're coming from a BlackBerry 10 device, or you're just looking to push the additional keyboard shortcut factors on your device, definitely check it out, because it's really cool. And it's like I said, work in progress, but the developer is super engaged on bringing new features to it and making it one of the better Android browsers. So give it a look.
It is really cool. Just from the screenshots, I've got a bunch of apps pending ahead of it, so it won't download right now. But just from the screenshots, it looks like it's pretty well replicated, the BlackBerry 10 look. And I would love to be able to hit T to go to the top of a page. Like, that's the thing. I sort of press it and cross my fingers depending on what app I'm in, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
It's really great when it works. That's the problem with Android, right? Like BB10, for all its lacking ecosystem issues, it was consistent. You could do that anywhere.
Yeah,
you could, and Android's a little trickier.
I mean, it's that kind of scenario where with BlackBerry 10, they had control of what ecosystem was there. Like, that was built from the core by BlackBerry, so they had control over every single thing, and they built that functionality for developers to be able to go ahead and bring that function into their own applications. And unfortunately, like you said, that's not one of the things that is included with Android. Like, Google's not going to open their doors wide open for BlackBerry to be able to go ahead and have the T button go up to the top of the browser, right? Like,
right.
If BlackBerry had to build Android from the core up, then they could have done that. But we're not in that world.
Speaking of that, though, BlackBerry's relationship with Android, at Google I/O, I was hanging out a lot with Jerry Hildenbrand from Android Central, who is just the best person to hang out with if you want to do anything remotely weird to your phone. Oh, yeah. And he ripped the Pixel launcher off of his Pixel, just the APK, and sent it over to me. So now I'm running the Pixel launcher on the KEYone. And it works very well. Yeah, it's actually...
you lose your keyboard shortcuts, right?
No, well, yes, you do, but I usually am more of a fan of just starting to type to initiate a search.
Oh, and that still works okay.
And that still works, yeah. But yeah, if you're used to keyboard shortcuts, it's not something you want to do. I keep the BlackBerry launcher on there so I can go back to it, but yeah.
Now, I saw Launcher 10 yesterday, which was exciting. So that mimics like the Windows mobile OS on Android. So you can make a very Microsoft feeling BlackBerry KEYone if you want to.
You sure can. Yeah, it actually does a pretty good job. I always thought those were pretty garbage because I liked Windows Phone a lot, but that particular launcher does a really good job of aping that Metro UI. Yeah.
Jez Corden from the Windows Central team, he's pretty excited. I love that. That's why I'm having so much fun with the KEYone, is like, there's a lot of people buying them that I'm like, what? Why? I didn't expect it. Like, genuine, just like, holy shit.
And it's funny because it has its moods, and sometimes I like the way it's behaving, and sometimes I don't. But the software, I can't wait till I get a retail unit, because this is a review device and it's going to be on that whatever review version is. But man, I'm consistently surprised. I didn't think I'd be holding on to this thing for so long.
I like it. Yeah, and I just find it's, and I get it. People ask me even at the meetup still. They're like, "So, what's your daily driver?" I'm like, "The KEYone," and I'm like, "Since I got it, right?" And
people are like
a couple of times
patting you down for an iPhone. They're like, "Where is it?"
Yeah, they're patting me down. But I'm like, "Look, no, it's there's something about the phone, the way it feels in the hand, the way it looks, the way it works, the keyboard, everything coming together. It's just." You can read the review for all the detailed things or watch MrMobile's reviews, but then there's this weird little hard to describe je ne sais quoi that is what makes me just like, that's the phone I want to be rocking right now. And
words.
It's good. Yeah. And then it's like, if there's little nitpicks that pop up, like you're saying, but those little nitpicks are like, they're minor, right? They don't stop they are grasp that the KEYone has. Yeah.
Now that I've got it like set up the way I want to, I mean, it's a longer road to get there on the KEYone. It's not like, you buy a Pixel, it's like, oh, you're a $700 or your $650 phone. You're working really well right out the box. KEYone, I had to sit down and like move into. Oh yeah.
It's more than that. When I bought that XL, I bought the XL in Canada from Google Play or whatever. 32 gig. It was like $1,150 Canadian when I got it. The KEYone is under $7.
Yeah.
Or it's crazy. Huge price differential there.
Yeah. So there's more like even just moving into the hub when I was using the hub, like moving into the hub and setting it up the way I wanted to took longer than it takes me to move into another phone just because of the number of options there were. But once you do invest that amount of time in it or do what I did and like, I want to run the Pixel launcher and I want to disable all this other stuff. And it's like, it's great. It's my soldier now.
It's true. Things. Well, go ahead. Sorry.
I don't want to give it up when because I'm going to get another unit when the retail North American version is out because I want to see what the software is like. But it's going to take me so long to get it back to this. And this already works really well. So.
But can't you just do the tap setup when you set up the phone?
Yeah, but I don't like doing that. I like starting from scratch.
That, and also it doesn't take into account like the Pixel launcher that he has there. That's right. That's not official. So Jerry ripped that off of his other device and put it on there. So.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. But I've got like 80 other things I want to say about it, but I do have to go write that script and I have to. Well, I've got a battery that went from 10% to 7%. So, wow, that's fun.
Well, MrMobile, fantastic having you on the show. I'm going to keep Bla1ze on a little bit so we can nerd out on how fantastic the meetups all were.
Cool.
And go through some of the diary of Kevin's last 2 weeks, which we're nuts. I just can't wait to. I can't wait to do more of them, but I need to recharge a little bit, and I'll sleep on an airplane ride to Taipei tomorrow,
and then to Boston. Also, I can't wait. That's going to be a great time.
What's funny is I think I've been traveling with some MrMobile like swag in my CrackBerry Meetup pack because we were going to do that in New York.
Yes. Yeah. Look at that mug.
Well, anybody who's not following MrMobile should go to YouTube. Go straight to MrMobile's channel, youtube.com/the MrMobile. We'll take you there.
MrMobile. The Mr. is an MR.
There you go. And watch all his videos. Watch the BlackBerry ones twice because they're
and there's 3 of them too, and there'll probably be a 4th at some point.
I love it.
Check out the top 40 apps video too because that's the latest, and it was really good to see what apps get used.
Thanks. I thought I have like the most boring app collection ever, but apparently some people thought it was a worthwhile look. So
that was good. Maybe CrackBerry Kevin will copy that idea and do CBK's apps.
It's a good idea.
I felt like you were missing the chive.
The chive? Oh God, I still don't know what that is. I said that's some pop culture element I'm ignorant of. Yeah.
Oh my God. Go. I mean, I was expecting, hoping to see that one.
Next one, on the top 80.
All right. Okay. Thanks again.
Guys, thank you for having me. This was a blast. Anytime. We will.
Well, you're welcome back anytime as long as you're rocking a KEYone or other BlackBerry.
Well, I got to wait for
there are more coming.
I gotta wait for my Passport Silver edition to get delivered, and I got to figure out how to get Android on it. I know people have done it, so maybe after I do that.
No one has done it.
No,
trust me, no one has
I
done
thought
it.
people had figured that out.
No, you want that. The backstory behind that is that basically previously, if you see a Silver edition running Android, that was a test device that was used long ago.
That's the one that I'm thinking of. Yeah, that was an internal thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you probably could have bought one off of Kijiji and eBay a while ago, but
not. Yeah, okay.
Watching this and has one, send it to me, and then I will sell it to me.
Exactly. Then I will be your bidder.
I went chasing after one, and the bids got a little too high.
Kevin, before I forget to ask you, bring a blue Classic to Boston if you still have one.
Yeah, I got one.
I want to borrow it.
I have a blue. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I'll bring a blue BlackBerry Classic. Done.
Sweet.
Can do. All right, take it easy, Mr. Mobile. We'll wrap up here in a couple minutes. Really great having you on the show.
Sounds good. Thank you both. Stay mobile, my friends.
Take care, buddy.
Oh my God, he said stay mobile, my friends, in real life to us. It's amazing. I love that. We're such fanboys.
I know.
It's too funny.
Instead of CrackBerry swag, I get Mr. Mobile swag.
Yeah, it's good. I got my CB cup. I'm repping. No t-shirt today. It's packed for the trip tomorrow.
Yeah.
Which
All right, what else we got on this agenda?
Well, so obviously we're in the final countdown. 5-6 more days at the time of this recording till the 31st hits. I think my take is if you're hardcore jonesing for a KEYone, I would probably just stay up that night and make sure you get front of the line once links go live.
Yeah.
Because what would suck is if you don't, and then they sell out, because it feels like these phones are moving, is my take. And I think part of it right now, it's obviously tricky because the UK has it, Car Phone Warehouse and Selfridges.
Yep.
And you get some hardcore people who are buying it from other parts of the world and having it shipped. But they seem to be like, they're pretty tricky to get a KEYone right now still, right? So yep. I'm hoping there's plenty of inventory come 31st, but at the same time, I'd be like, if you're listening to this and you want one, I would be like, okay, waiting room, stay up all night and buy it when it comes. And we'll see if we get any more info on it before then. But, I'm expecting you'll be able to get it. Obviously, the Canadian carriers have been announced. Rogers has pre-orders. Other carriers will be launching on time. I don't think there's any, we had well, we'll talk through the parties we had. We had the Canada launch party last week. We didn't talk about that. Totally.
Yeah.
And, US, carriers are coming, Sprint's coming, but for the 31st, I'm expecting to see it, online from wherever they're, wherever they're going to sell it from. But, we'll watch BB Mobile's site and link it up. So. That's that. CrackBerry meetups. Oh my God! Honestly, most memorable couple weeks ever.
No doubt.
I could talk for 4 hours at least on it, and it's amazing. Every meetup has been awesome. Nobody better ask me what's been your favorite, because everyone has been sort of. It has its unique twist to it. The turnouts have been great everywhere. Calgary, and everybody's hardcore. Like Calgary's crew. Hardcore, Calgary is a city. It's kind of like a Winnipeg, maybe a little like fancier Winnipeg, nice, lots of, oil money in that region, a little bit more banking and those types of things. But the crew that came out, just diehard BlackBerry fans, so many Passport fans at all these meetups. But like at the Calgary meetup, it was like a room full of Passport users.
Wow.
Everybody loves that phone. KEYone went over super well, and just a great night. People there, before we got started, stayed till the end. Just really good. Vancouver, we had a really big turnout. Total mix of people. Calgary was like, I'd say the average. We always get a mix. It's largely men. Some women. Age groups will vary, that kind of thing. But I'd say like. Calgary was kind of like us, age-wise and all that. Vancouver, we had a mix, like young people to old people, hardcore CrackBerry fans. There were some people who learned about the event. I don't know how they learned about it, but they were some were some old, cool dudes that were into the shares and stuff of BlackBerry who didn't know anything about BlackBerry Mobile or the KEYone, but they were just yeah, we heard BlackBerry's in town, and let's come see you. And it was fun though. It was totally fine. We had a really good venue for that event. It was just we had this wicked room to ourselves, nice big space, lots of food and bevies, and from there, I did my LA SF thing. Now Ottawa, though, it turned out to be the first playoff game for that series for the Senators.
Yeah.
And so it was a bit of a party night, but we picked a good pub. Turned out that was I think the least RSVPs of all of our venues. But again, the quality, like the who came was awesome. Plus, like Ottawa is a bit of a BlackBerry town, right? So we had a little bit more like people who are government and that. I got to play with the BlackBerry
Ontario.
Ontario. I was going to say Monaco. I'm like, that's not right. The Ontario, which was from a former BlackBerry employee, obviously, who's like, yeah, it doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah, it's irrelevant now.
So the stories were just awesome, right? Like it's funny when I go to Calgary, Vancouver. It's like Kevin's telling stories because I've got lots of stories to share and people want to hear them. And then I go at the Ottawa one, I'm like, well, I don't want to say anything. I want to hear all your stories because it's just like it was lots of inside baseball chat going on.
That's always interesting.
And then I made the mistake. I drank beer all that night, and it was a long night. And they had really good poutine, and I was like sick the next day though. I just ate and drank too much, and then I went to Montreal. And I think I had one day to recover, but I like kinked my neck. I think from my flight to like LA to or SF to Ottawa, which is a super long flight, I destroyed something back here, and I was like hopped up on painkillers, and I don't know. I had a rough couple days. So if you didn't see me very active on CrackBerry the last little while, it's not for a lack of wantingness. It's like a lack of ability to function because I've just been trying to stay alive.
Look, man, travel's hard on the body.
No complaints, though. If you do not take that as a complaint, I'm having a blast. I'm just like, oh my God, I feel like age is kicking in. The old age is kicking in. And then the Montreal meetup. So this was maybe, well, it turned out to be the craziest night because we did it on a Monday night, which you think would be tame, but I turned a year older at midnight that night. We started the meetup. It was going to start at 6. I was there at like 5:15 to set up. People started showing up at 5:30. And as soon as people show up, I'm like, well, it's going to be my birthday night, so we need to have a drink. So then I had like double gin and tonics all night long. And it was again, hardcore crew, great mix of people. But that meetup was really funny because like, often, I talk to like one or two people at a time and I kind of like, chat with people throughout the night. But for some reason in the Montreal meetup, just the way, I don't know if it was the venue or the way the night started, it was like, we took less photos and things, but I found myself talking to groups of people, but big groups. It'd be like, now Kevin is telling a story to 20 people or 10 people. And then I'm just like, I literally think I was yelling all night. And we went until, I don't know, I think after it was like 1 a.m. or something when we finally left on a Monday night. And then the next morning I flew to Toronto. And I was just literally, so that was my birthday Tuesday. I stayed in bed all day. I was like, oh my God, I am wrecked. Like it was a rough couple days. And I'm still recovering from when I was sick before. So I was just like, this has been a crazy, memorable month, which has just been, I don't know, too good. And then one of the funniest things at the Montreal meetup, and I don't know if he'll listen to this podcast, but I'm going to give him the shout out. So this is a true Canadiana test, for lack of a better word, like Canadian, heritage culture.
Yeah.
Do you remember a movie that came out in the early 2000s? It was like 2002 or 2003 called Fubar.
Yeah. I don't remember the movie, but I remember seeing the posters, and I remember when it came out on DVD and seeing like the DVD case. I can picture it in my head. It was like a crazy rock and roll movie or something like that.
Well, it's like your precursor almost to like a Trailer Park Boys, but it's Terry and Diener, and they're like best buddies, and it's like I don't even know how you describe it, right, without getting saying bad words on this podcast, but it's a cult classic, right? So I watched it probably 10 times in my like university days. And at the Montreal Meetup, this guy walks in. He looks kind of familiar, but not. You know, he's got short hair and stuff now, and all that. And he actually gave me a birthday bag. He's like, "Hey, happy birthday!" And I didn't look at it right away. And I was chatting with him later, and he's like, "Did you ever see the movie Fubar?" And I'm like, "Yeah, of course." Then I kind of look at him again, and I look, and it was, and I'm like, "Are you Diener?" And he's one of the, he was like the main character, like Terry and Diener from Fubar. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, whoosh! I go back to, you know, I shave a decade and a half off my life, and I'm like, I'm just, you know, you know that term giver, like just keep on giving her, gotta give her, like that's them, right? Like that's you know, just gonna keep on giving her, and that kind of escalated that night's meetup a little bit, so it became interesting. And Diener there had to get to work the next morning. He had to wake up at like 5 a.m. and leave the house. And I don't think he left the party until the very end. So he was like, I didn't know what to expect, but he's a huge CrackBerry fan, rocking a BlackBerry Classic. Super excited for the KEYone. It was just a crazy night. And went to Toronto. And then in Toronto, they had the BlackBerry launch event, the launch party, the Canadian, you know, sort of official launch party. So our old CrackBerry friend James Nieves showed up because he was helping out on the BlackBerry mobile social front there. So I gave him a slightly hard time for abandoning us on our CrackBerry podcast, because obviously we'd be doing it weekly if he was here. But he looked like he was crushing it, and we had a handful of CrackBerry members come to the event from the area. So that was fantastic, and it was a great event. I mean, I've been to so many BlackBerry, you know, parties, soirees, launch parties over the years. You know, obviously some of them are like all-out events, and some of them, like, you know, I remember, like, for example, the BlackBerry Bold 9700 event. You know, that was more like a briefing in New York. Maybe it was like the Bold 9900 party. There's a few that like stick out. You know, Playbook event. This was just a really well done event. It was like, you know, BlackBerry brand. You know, the right amount of swankiness, just really nice fixtures. You know, they had some entertainment, some, you know, local Canadian celebs were out. You know, good crew of people, and just a great night. Like a super pulled it off well. So it was awesome to see. And I was just like, you know, again, kind of like MrMobile there was like, yeah, it's 2017 and we're at Google I/O, all using Blackberries. And I'm just like, I kept having this weird like deja vu renaissance. Like, this is just trippy that all this is getting pulled off in 2017. And it's, you know, the last few years, you have to be a pretty, you know, and I say it at every meetup when I chat for a couple minutes. I'm like, guys, you know, you've all been the best fans ever, right? Better than me. Obviously, like Kevin kind of, you know, abandoned BlackBerry for the last few years.
You guys stuck it through.
Yeah, Blaze stuck it through. All that, everybody who's, you know, listening on the site, you know, rocking the BB stuck it through, and I just can't believe this has kind of been 2017 so far, and you know, using a BlackBerry and legit freaking loving it, and it's been, you know, a joy to use, that kind of thing. So that event was just the right. It was weird. It was just like blast from the past, but not, because it felt like 2017. It wasn't like, oh, this reminds me of, you know, the good old days. It's like, no, it was just a really freaking good event. And then after that, the next day was freaking, we did it at the Waterloo Meetup, which had almost 300 people. I mean, I think 315 people RSVP'd. We probably had a little under that throughout the course of the night.
Yeah.
Thunderstorm that I'm like, oh my God, nobody's going to show up, but everybody still did. And it was insane.
We're Canadian.
So we had
thunderstorms don't mean nothing.
Well, I said it on the mic. I'm like, look, I expect I don't know how tough everybody is. Like, you guys, you know, I don't know if you're scared of rain here in Winnipeg. It could be minus 40 and snowstorm. We'd all show up. But it was a great turnout. And just again, you know, I wish I could, like, these events fly by for me. And it's funny because, like, we'll have food and drinks and I don't stop to eat or anything. I'm just like talking to people nonstop for 5 hours. And I wish I could spend like 5 hours with each person, because, you know, as much as it's nice to like chat with each other in the forums or send tweets back and forth or that kind of thing, It's when you like meet face to face that you're like, man, everybody is so passionate, so awesome. The debates you get into are in person are interesting, because I think on the internet people go mean really fast. It's really easy, but you know, in real life, I think you get a more legit like conversation going.
Oh yeah.
And you know, and it's it's funny to see which conversations and things you hear like often. Oh, this blows you know what I hear the most every time we do a meetup and I meet somebody? They always say like, you're way taller and skinnier than I thought. So there's something about being on video. Everybody's like, Kevin's just
short and fat,
right? Yeah, which is fine. Everybody, whatever. But everybody's always surprised like that. And I'm like, and I hear it all the time. Not once has anybody said the opposite. Or people don't even say like, oh, you're exactly as I pictured. It's always like, no, I pictured you, you know, much heavier and everything.
I'm pretty sure that's the exact same impression that I had too. Like, holy shit, Kevin's taller than I thought.
I don't know where it comes from. I don't know. It's like the camera head's 10 pounds. Like, I mean, my head's too small. Something's too, I don't know. It's weird. But I hear that a lot. It's kind of funny. And we've given away a lot of IOUs for KEYones. So if you're one of the lucky winners that has won one, and I think we're up to like, geez, I want to say I owe 43 KEYones to people because we've given away that many at some of the meetups and contests online. And we had our Barcelona meetup where we took 10, you know, CrackBerry members to Barcelona for the unveiling of the KEYone, and each of them are also getting a KEYone. So we have 43 to hook up. So if you, what's happening is Michelle, Bla1ze's better half, is she in the room with you actually?
No,
probably.
But I can get her if you need her.
Oh, that's okay. She can come and say hi if she wants to. She will be reaching out to everybody. We have most people's email addresses. Some people I only have phone numbers for, depending. And then you're going to get like the link to a form to fill out. So we get your address, and the goal is to get them to you as fast as possible. But I need to like procure a lot of phones, so it might take more than, you know, May 31st. But it's top of mind, and we are going to get them to everybody, which is cool. Then what else is happening? Yeah, Waterloo Meetup, just, I don't know, awesome. And there was a lot of members of the BlackBerry Mobile Canadian team there. Yeah. So it was cool. It was just a cool like reunion, because I actually started the event and I was like, how many of you used to work at BlackBerry? Put your hand up in the air. And then I was like, how many of you are still at BlackBerry? And I think there was 3 people. And it's like, how many of you are with BlackBerry Mobile? And there was a good, you know, I think there was like 9 or so, 10 people. And then I was like, how many of you are CrackBerry fans? And everybody's hand went up. And I was like, that's good, because if it's down, not up right now, you have to leave. So it was, you're out of here. You're out of here. So it was fantastico. And yeah, now I'm really excited for round number 2. But I need to finish this podcast, go home,
fly to Taipei,
editor's desk article, start packing. I think I'm just going to stay up tonight, fly to Taipei for Computex, try to sleep on the plane and not screw up my neck. I'll be there next week, which the only crappy thing is like I'd rather be home for the 31st. So you're going to have to be awesome, Bla1ze. Maybe we could do like a podcast that day or something, the way the time zones work. Because I'll probably be like, it'll probably be midnight, and that'll be like 12 noon. Because I think it's almost a 12-hour difference. So maybe I can do like a midnight podcast, and it'll be, you know, afternoon here or something.
Oh, we'll figure something out.
We'll figure it out. It'd be cool.
Figure out a fun way to do it, at least.
And it's been fun watching the forums. You know, like it's really cool to see. I mean, obviously, anybody who's still waiting for the KEYone and is jonesing, there's a lot of like, I'm not going to call it negativity. It's just like, look, I'm super lucky and fortunate to be CBK and get access to this thing. So I totally understand if I was, you know, not, I'd be like, give me my freaking phone already, guys. Like, what the hell's going on? The world is ending. But, you know, it's coming now. But the nice thing to see is people who are getting the phone, everything seems like, you know, there's little things here and there that pop up, but pretty universally positive, like super positive reception of the KEYone. So
yeah, and I mean that's something like we put up a post the other day saying about how good the battery life was on the KEYone and everything like that. And basically, everybody who came across the door has used the KEYone has all said the exact same thing. That's like one of the highlights of the device, and along with all the other positive comments. Like, for example, today we put up a BlackBerry KEYone versus Priv post, and some people disagreed with the content of that post, like the relation, like to say that the KEYone is probably going to be the better device. Now, to be fair, it was Jerry's opinion piece that declared that, but it's throughout the comments. It's like, oh, I don't agree with this for whatever reason, but then the KEYone owners who actually do have the device come in and like, no, they're absolutely right. This is right. Like, you don't understand, because obviously they don't have it yet, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But when they do, I'm starting to think like, hey, maybe they'll come back to that post and be like, oh shit, they were right.
They're right. Yeah. It's funny. I did it earlier this podcast because, I'm like, you just watch, you're gonna like this phone, and
Yeah.
you see the people who just they get it, right? And it's not doesn't need to be for everyone, but it's just super cool to see.
Yeah, totally.
But I think that covers most things. I don't know if there's anything we missed. I mean, for me, it's been just I want to spend more time doing some writing on the site, so it's great to see you guys are keeping it going when I've been just trying to travel and stay alive here. And I think June is going to be messy for me. The next few weeks are messy still.
Yeah.
But tons of help and how-to content up. Adam's back in the mix, pounding out some stuff, which is nice to see. The forums are busy, and I think what's really different now, it's interesting. So if you go back like whatever 3 years, 4 years, when CrackBerry Kevin was still active, everything happened on the website, right? Because to be honest, it's like we didn't really have great social apps on BlackBerry 10. We didn't have like Instagram officially or even unofficially, so nothing really happened on those platforms. And now a lot of the BlackBerry users are obviously on social, and the CrackBerry fans. So what's nice is even if I don't write an article, a couple tweets or an Instagram post, etc., there's a great conversation that happens. So I always feel bad if I'm not like hitting publish on an article, but I feel like we're keeping up just off of also the social engagement, which is a cool change. It's nice to have that and see that the community grow and spread in all the places where people exist. So
for me, I obviously enjoy the forums. I mean, I'm always on Twitter and Instagram, but I always enjoy the forums a lot better because people just let everything out in the forums, whether it be good, bad, whatever, right? And it's always interesting to have the conversations in there. And
how about that dark theme?
The dark theme is awesome. Which reminds me, I don't know.
Is WhatsApp officially dead on BB10? We should do a.
No, that doesn't happen until June. Although there has been reports of like BBOS or users, like legacy BBOS users, no longer able to use it, even though WhatsApp.
I think that's what I'm seeing here. Yeah, this is in the BlackBerry 7 forum. Got it.
We
should do an article that's like just a PSA on, reminder WhatsApp still works on the BlackBerry KEYone, because I feel like that message, it happened with Facebook, I think a while back, right? It's like, well, they're just not supporting BBOS or BB10, but it still works on BlackBerry Android phones. And I don't know, smart media companies get that right. Other ones are just like, BlackBerry doesn't support WhatsApp anymore.
Yeah,
that's like, what?
They generically lumped the BlackBerry term, which is unfortunate because that's not the right messaging.
It's like when the airlines say, don't bring your Samsung onto this plane, it might blow up. It's like, no, it's just the Note 7.
Right. Yeah, exactly. We do have a new CrackBerry app rolling out, but chances are you guys can go ahead and if you dig hard enough in the forums or check out my recent posts, you can actually sign up for the beta release right now. The beta release can be downloaded by anybody, but again, keep in mind it is a beta release. So if you do come across bugs, make sure that you report them so that we can actually fix them before the full rollout happens. So I just want to put that out there.
Love it. Well, with that note, if you're still listening, you're amazing. And our last two podcasts have been very disorganized. So appreciate the patience, but we will get that going, fixed again. We'll do a better job next time. More guests though. Nice to have MrMobile on for a casual chat.
I love chatting with MrMobile. He always brings a different insight and a deeper insight to certain things that sometimes I don't necessarily, those thoughts don't cross my mind sometimes.
Yeah, I just love that he's, especially within our Mobile Nations family, it's kind of like, well, look, if I bring on Rene Ritchie, he's going to be pro iPhone, or Dan Rubino is going to love Windows Phone, and the Android Central crew's going to love Android. And probably Google stuff the most in a sense. And, Fisher is like kind of loyal to no one. Like he's the true cross.
He's fluid.
He's fluid. He's like, he's like, I don't even have a daily driver in 2017. I just use a different phone all the time.
Yeah. I use what's good.
Yeah. And now he's gravitated to something he likes. And I'm like, wow, that's crazy, but it's awesome. So, okay, with that note, thanks again, everybody. You can follow Bla1ze on the Twitters at Bla1ze with a 1, and CrackBerry Kevin on Twitter, Instagram, all that. Visit crackberry.com. The countdown is on. Make sure you follow me on Instagram for the amazing photo countdown. It's next up, number 5. It's going to be glorious. And I'll talk to you guys from Taipei.
Take care, everybody.
Kevin out.